As a preliminary matter, this meeting of the Pennsylvania Opioid Trust Dispute Resolution Committee has been duly advertised as a public meeting in accordance with the Sunshine Act and is therefore open to members of the public as observers. In this particular meeting, participation is limited to representatives of Bedford, Luzerne, and Washington County, which are the three counties that have appeals pending, as beneficiaries under the amended trust order, the trustees of the DRC, and those trustees that have been invited in advance to take part. The meeting is being recorded and the video will be available on the trust website, along with the minutes from this meeting once approved by the DRC. An executive session was held immediately prior to this public meeting for the purpose of receiving legal updates and legal advice. Could you please take attendance? Call the roll, please, Bree.
Yes. Tamara Alexander. Commissioner Kevin Boozle.
Here.
Stuart Fisk.
Here.
Shay Madden.
Here.
Commissioner Robert Postal. Senator Christine Tartaglione.
Here.
Chair Tom Van Kirk.
Here. So we have 5 present, Bree?
Yes. Yep.
Tamara and Robert are still supposed to join?
Yes.
Okay, Jason or Jordan, does 5 constitute a quorum for purposes of the meeting? I believe it does.
It does under the operating procedures, Tom.
Great, thank you. Okay, a quorum being present, I would ask for the first for the approval of the minutes of the November 12th, 2025 DRC meeting. Can I have a motion to that effect, please?
Make a motion.
Second?
Stuart, right? Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed. Okay, the first order of business will be to hear from Bedford County and its appeal of its program number 3. Do we have representatives from Bedford County present?
Yes.
Okay, and who might you be?
I am Karen Hendershot. I am our Chief Public Defender. I'm also a member of our treatment court team. Present with me is Bernard Smith, our Chief Probation Officer, as well as Stephanie Clevenger. She is our grant coordinator.
Okay. Thank you. Just as a reminder to everybody, this is an appeal of the Bedford County's program number 3. It originally consisted of 3 parts. One was for the probation officer, which we are going to be discussing today. Next was for an administrator for the treatment court, and the third was drug testing for the in connection with the treatment court. The administrator was approved at a previous meeting of the entire trust. The drug testing is on the agenda for the next meeting, which is taking place in a couple of weeks. So that leaves us with the probation officer. We received all your papers, but Karen, would you like to take the lead in making the presentation?
Yes, please. Thank you very much. So we thank you so much for your time and consideration of our appeal of the trust denial for funding of our treatment court officer. It is greatly appreciated. I wish to begin by addressing the amount of our funding request. In our materials, we requested 90% of the salary to be funded for this officer. However, after reviewing our data related to our participants' history of opioid use specifically, we are now requesting that 80% of the salary be funded rather than 90%. As stated in our materials, the total cost of our treatment court officer from January 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 is $36,301.22. Bedford County did not have any treatment court programming prior to the opioid settlement. Thanks to these funds, we implemented treatment court in 2024. It is my honor to have been a member of our treatment team since its inception. The other members of our team are our President Judge, the Honorable Travis W. Livingood, an attorney from the District Attorney's Office, Dr. Peggy Hoffman, a psychologist and owner of Horizon Behavioral Health, our treatment court coordinator, 2 CRSs from our local county drug and alcohol agency, and our treatment officer. To date, we have had 20 total participants. Please keep in mind that Bedford County is a 6th-class county with an approximate population of 47,000 people. Our first participant graduated our program in November of 2025. His name is Kyle Gardner, and you will see in our materials a letter from Kyle regarding his experience in our treatment court. In his letter, Kyle refers specifically to our treatment officer, Ms. Coutrio, as having been an integral part in his success. Next, I wish to address the Trust's reluctance to approve funding for treatment court officers on the basis that they are punitive or part of an authoritative arm of the criminal justice system. All treatment courts require officers to function. In fact, it is our understanding that Cumberland County has received funding from the Trust for this purpose. Specifically, Cumberland County's program number 6, involving its problem-solving courts, was approved by the Trust in 2024 to utilize settlement funds to support a probation officer as part of the court.
Karen, if I may interrupt you.
Absolutely.
The amended trust order makes it clear that counties cannot use what happened in other counties, either to attack what happened in another county or by presumption, to be used to support their own request. So
Understood. I will move on from that point.
we read your papers. I recognize the fact that you cited the Cumberland County example, but I prefer for you not to go into it.
Absolutely. Thank you for that direction.
Thank you.
I wish to be clear that our treatment officer does not function in any punitive manner. Our officer does not detain or arrest any participants. The sole reason that this position is held by a specially trained officer rather than a social worker is the fact that our officer is able to safely conduct home and work visits with our participants and respond to any crises that may arise, thereby assuring the safety of all involved. Our treatment officer plays a critical role in the administration of our treatment court. She is involved in the process of admitting voluntary participants into our program, as well as their initial determination of level of treatment needs. She works very closely with our local drug and alcohol treatment agency and the CRSs employed by that agency that are also members of our treatment court team. Our officer facilitates our participants' entry into inpatient or outpatient programs as their individual needs indicate. She participates in locating and enrolling services that address any co-occurring needs, such as mental health treatment. Our officer stays in contact with our participants' treatment providers to assess their engagement and to address any concerns that may arise by the provider or by the participants. She assists our participants with employment searches and placements and provides input on options that may best suit the individual's circumstances. Our officer aids our participants in finding community service opportunities in order to fulfill this requirement of our program. As the participants advance in phases, she also assists them in locating NA and AA meetings. She aids the participants with addressing housing concerns, insurance needs, and any other needs or resources that the participant may need assistance with. Each of our participants are given a journal that they maintain throughout the program. It is our officer that reviews the journals to provide positive reinforcement for advancements made, as well as encouragement when struggles arise. Furthermore, she is able to alert the team quickly to any possible setbacks or concerns in an effort to prevent regression. Our officer is the first to know if a participant has had a relapse or is at risk. She alerts the team immediately when any concern arises. Due to her close contact with participants, she has been essential in getting individuals into additional treatment with expediency for their safety and continued progress. As you'll note from the description of this position provided in our material, she is trained in motivational interviewing, cognitive behavioral techniques, behavior coaching, and relapse risk assessment as required for employment in the position. As stated in our materials, her primary responsibility is to build a supportive relationship with participants, identify needs, and connect individuals with treatment and community resources. This averment is reinforced by the letter to the trust from President Judge Travis Livingood, dated January 20th, 2026, as well as the letter from our county commissioners dated January 21st, 2026. Furthermore, as addressed by Dr. Peggy Hoffman of Horizon Behavioral Health and included in her letter, it has been her experience in working as a treatment consultant for 5 treatment court teams, including Bedford counties, that a treatment officer is, and I quote, foundational to program integrity, participant compliance, and public safety outcomes. Dr. Hoffman and our treatment officer maintain regular contact to assess the progress of any participants receiving services at Horizon Behavioral Health. As to concerns raised during the course of this appeal process, the trust asked if we would be willing to change the title of this position. In response to that question, I submit that a change in the title does not change the duties of this position. Furthermore, our county is unable to change the title of the position as outlined in our response due to existing labor laws and union constraints. With regard to the authority to fund this position, in reviewing Exhibit E, I submit that the position is authorized under Schedule A, Part B, numbers 3 and 5. As described, our treatment officer provides the services and supports outlined in those sections. As stated in our submissions, this position is a specialized treatment-oriented position embedded within an evidence-based problem-solving model. As to the concern that was raised in another county's similar appeal, when a participant leaves the program unsuccessfully, the decision is either the voluntary choice of the participant or the decision of our president judge after a team discussion. The decision to remove a participant involuntarily only occurs after all possible efforts are exhausted and again, following the team's full discussion. I cannot state it clearly enough that our president judge is the ultimate decision maker. Further, our treatment officer is in no way in a position of authority to revoke a participant from our treatment court. When a participant is removed, our treatment officer is not involved in any way in detainment of an individual. Again, she is not utilized in a punitive manner. Finally, most of the participants of our treatment court were either clients of mine or clients of court-appointed counsel that are compensated by my office. Though you do not know me, I am a quite zealous advocate for my clients. It is my ethical duty as well as my personal passion. I would not be the representative speaking to you about this position today if I believed it to be a hindrance in any way to the participants of our treatment court. My participation in treatment court has been one of the major highlights of my career. And with that, I would defer to the panel for any questions you may have for us. Thank you.
Okay, before we start with questions from the panel, I would like to note that Tamar Alexander has now joined the meeting, so we do have 6 members of the panel present. Okay, for that discussion, anybody have any questions of Karen?
I do, Tom.
Okay.
Couple of things. So I guess when I hear you talk about the treatment court officer, I mean, it really does sound like a case manager. So who is actually doing the supervision piece?
She is supervising in that the participants do meet with her here at the courthouse. She does do field visits. She does work closely with our CRSs from our local agency in kind of a cooperative manner in overseeing the case management. But she is the one that reviews journals because that is a requirement for our program. She is the one that, along with the CRSs, makes contact with participation providers providers of services to ensure that our participants are attending their treatment, because obviously treatment is the primary goal of our program. So she wants to ensure that they're attending their groups. If they would fail to attend, then she gets further information as to why they were absent. If it was for an invalid reason, then that is brought to the team's attention for discussion.
So, who does the assessment in order to staff them for the program?
Could you elaborate on what you mean? Do you mean
Like who
to
is
admit
doing
them to
the
the program?
no, who's doing the biopsychosocial, who is doing the ASAM? Like, what does that look like?
Well, when an individual is being considered for our program, our treatment court coordinator, which is the separate position that was discussed as part of this process that's already been addressed by the trust, as well as a CRS, interviews the individual, and they go through an assessment process that is then brought to the team when the individual's application is reviewed. And the officer is part of that review process to determine if the applicant is a good candidate for the program.
So do they use do they use a validated assessment tool or the ASAM or anything like that?
I, quite frankly, cannot speak directly as to what assessment tools are utilized. Again, that is handled by our treatment court coordinator, as well as the CRS from our local drug and alcohol agency. I don't know if Mr. Smith may have some additional information.
Karen, I apologize. Karen,
Absolutely.
Ben Noggle is on here as well.
Oh, fantastic. Ben works for our local drug and alcohol agency. If he's able to provide some of that information, he's an integral part of our team.
Please do.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, Ben Noggle. I work at Personal Solutions, the Bedford County Single County Authority. So the SCA, as the SCA, I would be the one that would be completing the biopsychosocial, at least the initial, as well as the ASAM criteria to determine what level of care or what type of treatment somebody might need.
And once you make that determination, are you making the referrals to treatment?
After a team discussion, yeah, I would be the one making the referrals to treatment.
So you're essentially, it's kind of a team that does the assessment on the individual. Is that what I'm kind of getting?
So I do the TAP assessment, or the drug and alcohol assessment, and then the treatment court coordinator interviews the individual as well and collects information, and then we bring all that information together as a team and discuss the case.
And you said you are using the ASAM?
Yes, I am.
So I guess who sanctions a participant for, behavior response?
Sanctions are actually discussed by the full team. So our treatment officer may often notify us of an issue that has come forth. However, it is a team discussion as to if the sanction is warranted, first of all, and then if so, what that sanction will be. And ultimately, our president judge makes the final decision on the sanction after the team discussion.
Does your officer carry a firearm?
Yes, because she does enter the field.
And they could detain somebody.
While she has arrest authority just by virtue of her qualifications, she does not. In fact, a great example of that is we recently, very unfortunately, had a participant who was stopped by local municipal officers. He was taken into custody by the municipal officer on new charges. Our treatment officer did respond simply to gain information from the matter. She was not involved in any aspect of his detainment, arrest, or anything of that nature. She simply gained information about the situation and reported it to the team. Fortunately, he was able, with his court-appointed counsel, to address that issue and the team then had a discussion about his circumstances. We will be addressing that later today in treatment court, actually. But our goal is to continue to have that participant be part of our program as a result of the resolution he was able to reach.
So if someone is taken into custody, does another probation officer do that?
Absolutely. No probation officers are swapped out in place of our treatment officer. She does not detain or arrest anyone because, again, her role is to be supportive and to be a resource to our participants. So she is not utilized in any way to arrest or detain them.
So how do you utilize the SCA? I mean, I know he does the assessment kind of in the beginning, but what does that look like going forward? Because I'll just tell you from my viewpoint, just for me, all of that is what I feel like a case manager should be doing. I feel like the lines are very blurred for individuals in this scenario. Again, just my opinion. Still carry a gun, still feels law enforcement to me. And I had
Again,
another
that's
thought,
only
lost it.
for her safety and the safety of others when she enters into a field. She does home visits or work visits.
Sure.
And certainly if, heaven forbid, she would encounter a situation where there was a relapse or an ongoing OD or something of that nature, she's protected as well as anyone interacting with her. But again, she's not there in a law enforcement capacity and she does not act in such a capacity.
So
And
who,
Mr. Smith could
sorry.
provide additional information on that aspect if you would like.
So who participates on your team as law enforcement?
As far as giving input, we do not have members of state police or municipal officers on our treatment court team.
So where do you and I don't know how long you said it's kind of a new court. So like the best practices, law enforcement person on the team. So that is not.
I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
As far as the aspect of the Commonwealth's interests, a member of the district attorney's office is on our team and is integral in those discussions. However, we do not have a police officer there. When this program was being developed, I believe there were discussions with law enforcement. However, they're not there for the team meetings and those private discussions before we have our court sessions.
I'm sorry. I know I've asked a lot of questions. So if somebody else has any, please jump in.
Please, other questions?
If I may,
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Stuart.
Well, I was just going to ask if in the job description of the court officer,
Yes.
is there any language precluding them from acting in a law enforcement manner or a punitive manner? Is that in the job description, or is that this person sounds like she's very good, right?
She's excellent.
But what if she leaves and somebody else comes in? Is there some kind of structural issue that keeps this person from being able to do what we're concerned about, which is perform a punitive law enforcement action against someone specifically for relapsing and using drugs?
Yes, it is just simply part of our policy as a team that member that is essentially the officer of the team is not permitted to act in that manner. The job description that's provided also addresses the fact that this officer must be specifically trained in the modalities that I went over previously and in specifically opioid use history. So if she were to leave this program, which would be incredibly unfortunate because she is very valuable, a similarly trained officer would have to replace her. We would not simply just pull another officer from the probation department and plug them in.
Is that policy a written policy that you all have, or is that just operational?
We do have a written treatment court policy. Quite frankly, from the top of my head, I cannot indicate as to whether or not that specific inability to act is listed in there, but we do have a very detailed policy in place.
Kevin, did you have a question?
I did. Thank you. First of all, I've worked in this field a little bit, and so I can say that I can see the value of having the law enforcement piece involved, and I kind of lean towards Shay's questioning of it's hard to be the landlord and the social worker type of model, and so I'm struggling with that. So you know where we're coming from.
Yes, I do. And what happens is if Ms. Couturier discovers a situation where there has been a serious violation of the policy, and we're at a point where perhaps a participant is not going to be successful in the program and perhaps needs to be revoked. While she does not detain or remove that person, she's integral in those discussions. And then ultimately, if a person is removed by Judge Livingood, if they are, because many of our participants are there on IP status or reentry status or diversionary status, if that individual is detained because of the revocation from the program, she's not the individual that detains them. Because certainly we don't want the other members, the other participants of treatment court to view her in this kind of authoritative aspect where they're going to lack trust in her or they're going
Well,
to
I have the
her.
other argument of that is if you're carrying a gun, you can't lack that authoritativeness. You cannot. So
Again,
let me finish my question before.
absolutely.
I know you're used to arguing, but I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to argue with you.
I
I will say this: I'm a normal guy on a normal board, and please, this is not court, so this is an interaction. So please keep it at that level. It helps us all. So I will say this. What does this person do on the 20% that you don't find that she's eligible to do this job?
Well, she does have a caseload of other probationers who have a history of opioid or drug or substance abuse disorder. So she
And
does
so
have a
she
separate
does do the
caseload.
detentions of those folks.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And have they ever crossed lines? Have they ever moved from one to the other? Have someone on her caseload ever become a participant of this group?
Not to my knowledge, unless anyone else has a different recollection.
I don't think anybody from her case.
I believe that you're muted right now, Mr.
No,
Smith.
I can hear him. I don't know where
Oh,
he
you
is.
can hear me on
Okay.
Karen's. I'm trying to keep one speaker going. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I don't believe she's had anybody directly from hers get moved over, but I do tell her to watch for that. If we do have clients that could, cross over to that would fit for the program. The cases that she's had have come from other officers, and we've had diversionary cases as well that have come in that have not yet been obviously prosecuted.
So,
but that could happen, Commissioner.
And I appreciate the acknowledgement of that. I guess the other question that I would have is working in social services. And I understand I understand the courts and other people wanting to take the most active stance of saying we got to make sure that this person's safe going into these homes. But I got to tell you, caseworkers go into these homes every day. And so my argument is I don't need to carry a gun to get the job done. In that situation, I'm struggling because now I have an enforcement authoritarian belief system and trying to mix in, hey, I'm your friend, let me tell you something. So I am truly, really struggling with that piece of this. And I will tell you that in most cases, I would tell you that should be a caseworker. If that caseworker feels threatened or feels that there's a threat in play, that at that point we would put a probation officer to accompany that person for that exact reason. When we divide these duties, there's a rational reason to do that. And that is it, that most people will not confide with someone standing there with a gun strapped to them. In most cases, not always. I'm just telling you from clientele experience. And if I really wanted to get them to do something, I have to, as a social worker, I have to really work with them on a different level. And that then makes it sort of their role to change. They have to want to change. With an authoritative role, it's sort of you will change. And even if it's only implied and not implicit, I think that's where I'm struggling with this entire conversation. And I'm speaking from experience and I'm not in your, and I know everybody's different. And so I have to tell you that each one of us come with our own experience. That's been mine. And what you're explaining to me is could be very easily solved. Have the regular probation, have a regular social worker. Do I think it's valuable to have that probation worker trained in this modality so that they understand what the social worker would be doing? 100%. I love it. I think this person's probably one of the most valuable employees. Do I think this person's capable of separating the gun from the hip and providing social services? I do not. So that's now explain to me how you think that is.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
certainly understand your concern, absolutely.
Okay.
However, in the experience that we've had thus far, that's not the type of relationship that our participants have had with our treatment officer. It has actually worked very well. They express a lot of confidence in working with her, as indicated by Mr. Gardner's letter. They seem to be able to look past that issue of being authoritative. And I think also because she is in this specialized role, she's not in a role typical to a probation officer. They have been able to look at her as part of their treatment process and as part of the team.
And if I can throw something in here for a minute, is the panel familiar with evidence-based practices, motivational interviewing, ethics, some of those concepts?
Yes.
Now, I've been in this industry for about 30 years, and many of you probably have had a lot of experience. So you know that the industry has changed. What we define a probation officer as today is not what it was when I started 30 years ago. The expectation, ladies and gentlemen, is that we build those relationships, that it is not an authoritative relationship, right? We work towards rapport, towards getting these individuals to understand that need on their own through those techniques, all of which all of my officers are trained in. We know the authoritative approach, it doesn't work. And we know that, just like we know just incarceration does not work. So, this is the ultimate in embracing that, and she is at an even higher level with that than my other officers, obviously, because, we are making it a team approach, meaning that she is not making that decision to detain people within that court. And our clients know that. And so that rapport is made even stronger. Okay. And so putting all these things together, it's truly what a probation officer is. I can't call a probation officer a law enforcement officer. Yes, is that a part of their duties? I don't think anybody could ever say that it is not there somewhere, but that is not how we operate. And especially with this, that's not how she operates. Having that team, address everything that's going on, especially when it comes to sanctions and so forth, that makes all the difference in the world. And it truly allows her to be in that capacity of support, right? And that's really where it is, and helping, our clients to navigate the daily. She is meeting with them on a daily basis, and helping them with those decisions and those mistakes. So it's not, how I know a lot of you guys would typically interpret what a probation officer is. It's truly moving in this direction of evidence-based practices.
Mr. Smith, if I may, and I agree with you, it has changed. It's changed over the last 20 years, and I can say the corrections officers in our prison have changed. They definitely have to be more mental health savvy, drug and alcohol savvy, but they're not required to hold any type of degree to hold that job. This probation officer's position would not require them to have a degree in social work. The other side of this is under corrections officers, while they do more of this type of, I used to call it the softer side of Sears, right? Like it's sort of the nicety piece of what they do. And you're right, in the past they didn't have that side to them. They didn't have to. They had a social worker that did that. And there became the infractions came whenever those two collided. And then usually the social worker and the corrections officer or probation officer would go to battle. And that's usually what happened. And unfortunately, my corrections officers have shifted gears as well as my probation officers. They do not do old school probation. They do not do old school corrections. However, I cannot put a corrections officer in a position of still being a corrections officer, and we literally shift them over to social service. They have to move because there's always an implied intent that if I have the ability to detain you, I can detain you. You cannot take that away. You cannot. So the sanctions are always there. But I truly appreciate where the field has gone, both in corrections and probation. I really do. Some of my best friends are probation officers, by the way. And believe me, we've had a lot of conversations about how it's changed. And even police officers have actually come up and said, look, I'm not a social worker. I don't want to know how to do this crap, right? Whatever case. But that's shifting and it's changing, and that's a good thing. But it doesn't make them social workers. It doesn't allow them to work in that act. So that's been my argument. I will now close off because I feel like I'm taking too much time. But I'll open it up and allow anyone else to have any other questions. Thank you very much, all of you.
Having very important discussion, and you can see the way we're struggling with this. And I guess my question then becomes, and we'd ask you, could it be a social worker? And I recognize how strongly you all feel that somebody needs to have some kind of a gun or something in order to be able to for their own safety. However, having heard what this discussion is today, putting aside what your collective bargaining agreements might be, is it possible this person could be a social worker, not carry a gun, and do everything, all the fine work that she is doing?
I think your issue there would be the compliance aspect of ensuring that that our participants are abstaining from the use of drugs through drug testing, some other matters that would not necessarily fall under a social worker to accomplish.
Which is why you really should have a case manager, preferably at your SCA, and a dedicated probation officer, in my opinion. And just so you know, I've done treatment court since 1998, so I'm not just making this stuff up.
So, but a question would be this: if you have somebody that can fulfill all those roles and successfully, I mean, again, we're not getting negative feedback on this. Why not? Why wouldn't it make sense? It has somebody that understands each realm. You know, and yes, she does have a 4-year degree.
So you're crossing boundaries though for this part.
Yeah, it's too blurry. There's no clear.
Correct.
There's no.
But
clear
when we
path.
talk about evidence-based practices, is it that, or does it matter what's working?
But
So
if you're
that's
talking
what we-
evidence-based practices and following the best practices from the National All Rise Foundation and AOPC for the state, you're going to have those two roles separated.
I think we do make it pretty clear to our participants that we function as a team, and any decisions that are made are a team decision. And we often say in our treatment court sessions, when the participants express a difficulty with community service hours or a difficulty with some housing situations, we often refer them to Ms. Couturier, and in some circumstances, obviously Mr. Noggle, or to Dr. Hoffman if it's more of a mental health or treatment-based issue. So we use the team collaboratively, and we express that to our participants. We'll specifically say to them, so-and-so on this team could really help you probably with that issue, or make sure you talk with Dakota, that's her first name, about that particular issue. She can help you reach out to some resources. And our participants, as stated, truly see her as an assist, because again, she is not being utilized the way that other probation officers are. And again, keep in mind, many of our participants are in the program due to revocations of supervision. So they're familiar with the role of a traditional probation officer.
Then why are you
It's very
using a
clear that
probation
she's
officer?
not.
Then why are you using a probation officer? If she's not doing the roles of a traditional probation officer, again, I come back to, why are you using a probation officer? I would gladly fund any training for your probation officers to get the social service side of this and understand it. I think that's a wonderful, as I said, the corrections, probations, whatever. But they still have a role as a probation officer. You cannot remove that, especially if it's in their power, their duty, their authority. So
Again, she is very specially trained, and we do not use her in that capacity. Other probation officers detain, absolutely. For treatment court, Ms. Couturier is not utilized in that capacity, and that's made pretty clear to all participants. They have never been taken into custody by her. If there is an incident where there's a removal of an individual, that is dealt with by other members of the probation department.
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one quick one. If there's a team meeting with someone who seems to be moving towards an involuntary removal from the program after however many violations, relapses, whatever, is the team individually saying they should be removed, they shouldn't be removed? Or are you presenting all the evidence to the judge who then makes the decision?
So the judge is actually part of the team meeting.
Sure.
It's literally a table discussion. We are all present. We are all discussing, as we are here right now. We're having a discussion with all members giving input and expressing from their various roles. Because again, we have a member of the district attorney's office. We have myself. We have case management. We have a CRS. We have different people that are involved. And so each individual member gives their decision on that instance, but the final decision maker is ultimately Judge Livingood.
That's what I'm asking. So the team members are giving their recommendations to whether the person is kept in the program or removed, and then
Absolutely.
the judge. Okay, so
yes. Yes. So for instance, if a issue is discovered, say a relapse, and Ms. Couturier discovers this relapse has occurred, she immediately contacts the team as a group. We receive a group email informing us of the situation. Each member will then respond and, with any questions or concerns or input for the immediate period. And then at our next team meeting, we all meet in person together in a conference room, and we discuss that issue as a team. Once we have reached I don't even want to say a consensus, but primarily a consensus, we still look to the president judge who is in these meetings, and he makes the final decision about if there's going to be a sanction, what sanction, or if there's going to be an involuntary removal, is that definitely happening? He makes the final decisions, but he is right there sitting with us as part of this.
Got it. Got it.
Okay. Any other questions? I think we understand. Members of the committee, do you want to have any additional discussion among ourselves, or are you prepared to vote?
I'm okay to move to a vote. I don't
We are
have any.
prepared to vote. Therefore, I will make the motion, and the motion will be resolved that the Dispute Resolution Committee of the Pennsylvania Opioid Trust hereby affirms the decision of the Board of Trustees that Bedford County Program Number 3 is not compliant with Exhibit E. A yes vote would maintain the current denial by the trust, whereas a no vote would reverse the decision by the trust that the program is not compliant with Exhibit E. Does everybody understand what the motion is? Could I have a motion to that effect?
Do the motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please. All those with a yes vote, please say yes.
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 No?
Yes.
Hearing none, the answer is yes, and that does affirm the decision of the Board of Trustees that this portion of Bedford County Program Number 3 is not compliant with Exhibit E. I do hope to all the members who made very fine presentations on behalf of Bedford County that you will listen to everything, all the questions that were asked. I have to believe that there is some structure you can come up with that will allow you to go forward with a person being paid for by opioid funds, just not a probation officer, okay?
Thank you for your time. It's really appreciated. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
For your work. Appreciate it.
Okay, finishing with Bedford County, we're ready to move on with Luzerne County, and it is their program number 13, Dress for Success. Are the representatives from Luzerne County on?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, could you please identify yourselves?
My name is Harry W. Skeen. I am the Chief County Solicitor for Luzerne County.
Thank you.
My name is Megan Stone. I'm the Division Head for Luzerne County Human Services.
Anybody else?
That's it.
Okay, very
And
good.
I'd like to apologize in advance. I'm on vacation, so this was scheduled after I already had those plans. And unfortunately, the internet connection in my room is terrible. So I didn't want to get dropped off of this call, so I am outside. So there's a chance people will walk behind me on their way to the pool, and there's a chance that there will be sounds that I cannot control. So I'm sorry about that in advance.
Will the animal in back of you be able to listen and speak?
Yes, my goat will not be able to say anything, but that will hide some of what's going on behind me.
We'll let you know if the goat moves.
All right,
Understood.
thank you.
Okay. So would you go ahead with your presentation?
Yes. So I wasn't able to glean from the denial the exact reasoning for that. So what I did in my appeal was provide information on Dress for Success that we thought aided in its being compliant with Exhibit E. So one of the big benefits that she provides to the opioid use disorder group is the expansion of warm handoff programs and recovery services, which is something that once a person leaves the prison, we have those services at the prison, but when a person leaves, there are different agencies that can provide that service, but we don't have a lot of them. And she is able to provide those services along with training and clothing for the female population leaving the prisons. So I think that her program mostly deals with females suffering from OUD and not males. So that frees up, so to speak, some of the services that other social service agencies provide for the community. And part of that comprehensive wrap would be helping people with recovery programs, including housing, transportation, job placement and training, and childcare. So she sets the goals of bringing these people from prison into the community and having them be successful in that. And she has served over 200 women impacted with opioid use disorder with appropriate attire for employment and training for interviews and work. And like I said, most of those people that are coming to her are coming from prison. And once they're in prison, although we've extended the MAT program in prison to allow for the long-term, the treatment where they receive a injectable that provides the drug to benefit them even after they leave prison, they still need somebody to help them get into a MAT program and work in that program. So that's a service that I don't think we have by a lot of other programs in the community. And she also helped with 228 incarcerated individuals with 22 workforce development and employment certification programs, and has provided dignity bags for women so that they have necessary supplies for when they're first released from prison.
Okay.
And there's also that all in Schedule B approved uses for support of people in treatment and recovery. She's also provided additional services that would, most of the same services, but those are approved services under Schedule B that would allow for people to be more self-sufficient when they're first leaving prison. I think we would all agree that when you're first leaving prison, that's going to be the toughest time for all of these individuals.
And part of what sets this program apart is the fact that the person that runs the program is a certified recovery specialist. So she connects with the individuals that are incarcerated and delivers on-site training, which is that Set for Success program. So they get, Safe Serve, or they get different programs like that are provided, that she helps them identify goals and gives them the training that they need. So when they come out of prison, we actually had a successful person in the program. She was incarcerated. She was at a halfway house. She through this program got a job. She became a manager of a fast food restaurant, which was one of the goals on her board. And she spoke at our International Women's Day lunch that I went to. So it's nice to see the full recovery turnaround going through the Set for Success program, which was able to happen with the use of opiate funds.
Okay. I have one question, well, at least one question to start with, and that is that there's approximately $84,000 being requested for this program. Obviously, that does not fund all of the Dress for Success, because you're a very successful organization, been in existence for a long time. So how did you ascertain the $84,000 that is being requested for this portion of it?
So on the application that they submit to our committee, the Set for Success is assuming 25% for participants. It's $500 per session because they have preparation. They also get materials. Like I said, the Safe Serve was a big one. If they're Safe Serve certified, they can get a fast food job right out of prison, even if they're on parole. Having that is really invaluable. But if they get the materials and the preparation and 16 sessions on the budget, it was $8,000 for that. And then the Project Clean Break, which is the project that they go where she goes into the prison while they're still incarcerated and does basic life skills and how to interview, keep in eye contact, basic things that are just needed. And again, with her experiences, she connects with these women and they do actually listen to her. So there was also staff pays for partial salary, preparation, and materials for 16 sessions per year through the Project Clean Break.
So the entire amount is directed to people with OUD disorder or related.
Correct. And then there's also CRS training that was being provided through this program as well. So it's $1,000 for participants to get the materials and the CRS training if they want to, work to become a certified recovery specialist.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you're paying for their Serve Safe? That process?
Yes, in the prison if
Okay.
they go through. Yep.
Okay.
I'd like to say that I'm from Philadelphia and I am in recovery. And I do work with Dress for Success, and you've had some great outcomes, at least in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I just would say the material that you sent was really helpful in us making a decision. And I would just recommend in the future making sure that we get that level of detail for proposals, and it can be put in the attachment. It's helpful if there's even some mention of opioid use disorder in the small summary, but these attachments and budget stuff is really important for us being able to make a decision without having to go into a dispute process or anything like that. So appreciate the follow-up. Yeah, I don't have.
Okay, other questions? Okay, hearing none, I think we're ready to vote on this one. Regarding the appeal from Luzerne County concerning its program number 13, resolved that the Dispute Resolution Committee of the Trust hereby affirms the decision of the Board of Trustees that Luzerne County program number 13 is not compliant with Exhibit E. A yes vote would maintain the current denial, whereas a no vote would reverse the decision by the Trust that the program is not compliant with Exhibit E. Could I have a motion to that effect, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, everyone voting yes, please vote yes now. Those voting no?
No.
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 Okay. Here, that is a majority of no's, and therefore, the original decision by the board is overturned, and this is now deemed to be a compliant program. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much. Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend.
Have a
You
good
too.
vacation.
Thank you. Bye.
And I would note that, for the record, that Rob Postal has now joined the meeting. Joined it about halfway through the discussion that we were having with Bedford County, and was present for this. Was certainly present for this vote. So we now have a full complement of members. With that, we will move on to the Washington County, and there's a number of different appeals which I'll identify after we get on. But first, we have representatives from Washington County around on the phone.
We can't hear you.
You're on
Yeah, I
mute.
think you're muted.
My apologies. Hello, Thomas and trust member boards. I am John Tamidji. I am the Director of Human Services for Washington County, and I'm joined by the Deputy Director of Washington County's Human Service, Ms. Tiffany Millivac.
Okay.
And I would like to proceed with an opening statement, if that's appropriate.
That'll be fine.
Thank you. On behalf of Washington County Department of Human Services, we are respectfully requesting reconsideration of the classifications for the following applications submitted to the Opioid Settlement Trust Board. The awards include number 40, 41, 42, 46, 49, 53, 55, and 58. As documented in the January 2026 appeal submission, each proposal aligns with the opioid abatement strategies outlined in Exhibit E. And the applications clearly demonstrate a documented community need, incorporated evidence-based.
John, excuse me 1 minute before you go on.
Yep.
You mentioned 46. I don't have 46 on my list.
I don't either.
Was that the one that was withdrawn?
That's correct. It was
It
retracted.
was retracted.
Okay,
which
so
we will state.
you're amending your opening statement. Okay,
Okay, thank you. To continue, the applications clearly demonstrate a documented community need, incorporate evidence-based program design, and are consistent with state opioid response plans. Approval of these projects would directly support the intended purposes of the opioid settlement funds by mitigating the ongoing and future harms caused by opioid epidemic within our communities. With that being said, with permission, we would like to go through the following outlined award numbers and provide rationale for our appeal.
that'll be fine.
Wonderful. Thank you. We will start with number 40. That is Jeff Hancher Enterprises Success for Readiness Framework. We have identified that this aligns directly with Exhibit E, Section B, found under Schedule B, Support People in Treatment and Recovery, number 8. The rationale behind this is the Success Readiness Program aligns with Exhibit E, Schedule B, Section B, number 8, by delivering structured employment, training, and educational services to individuals in treatment and recovery from opioid use disorder and co-occurring conditions in Washington County. The program operationalizes evidence-based recovery supports by integrating workforce readiness education, life skills development, and individualized coaching within recovery residences and community settings. By targeting unemployment and economic instability, key drivers of relapse and overdose risk, the initiative advances Exhibit E's authorized uses through measurable outcomes, including increased employment readiness, job placement, improved recovery stability, enhanced self-efficacy, and reduced overdose vulnerability. It coordinates partnerships, data-driven evaluation frameworks, and outcome reporting to ensure accountability while strengthening long-term recovery and workforce reintegration efforts consistent with the objectives identified in Exhibit E. This program was completed at 3 of Resurrection Power Recovery Housing in Washington County in 2025.
Okay, and we are going to deal with these one at a time.
Understandable.
Members of the trust. So do you all have any questions?
So these trainings are going to be held in recovery houses that would have some proportion of people that are suffering from opioid use disorder or other mental health and substance use disorder issues.
Absolutely.
That's correct. He worked in 3 of Resurrection Power's licensed recovery houses last year, and the plan is, if approved, to continue to expand to our other recovery houses. So just wanted to kind of pilot first in Resurrection Power. He had really good outcomes there. They loved him. They will gladly welcome him back to continue working with the residents.
And we have outcomes that demonstrate success, including from members and leadership as a part of that organization.
Okay. And are all of the recovery houses that they'll be working at, are they all licensed or some of them not licensed?
So we are actually working on, this is a whole separate thing, working on increasing the number of licensed recovery house beds in Washington County. When we both took our positions, which was about 2 years ago, we didn't have a lot of licensed recovery houses. Yeah. So we are working on utilizing opioid settlement funds to help support getting them licensed. So that will be greatly increasing. But again, we just started that last year. So we're not going to pigeonhole him to just working with the licensed recovery houses. We would want him to be able to offer his supports at any house that deems fit.
Okay. And this request was to cover the 3 sober living facilities that you mentioned.
Correct.
Correct.
And those trainings are done.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
If I may, Chairman, I just want to reiterate the rationale behind this denial was, in fact, that there was little, if any, opioid information in their description, their original description, and so we asked for additional. I think the new information has provided what we're looking for, at least referencing the opioid and how it impacts the recovery houses. I couldn't get that from the original, so you understand why we put this through
yes.
here. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And that's all I have, Tom. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything else. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And the
only amendment I'd make to what you said, Kevin, was we deemed it non-compliant. We did not go back and ask for additional information. The additional information was supplied in connection with the appeal, but we did not give them the opportunity to come back with additional information. Senator, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No problem. These motivational speeches, they are at all sober living facilities?
Yeah, and they're not just motivational speeches, it's workshops. So he's actually working with the individuals in the recovery houses where they reside.
And he's accessing and addressing workforce skills along with recovery stability barriers, all in real time.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
This is Rob Postal. Is this, and I think I've read that, is this one-on-one? Is this group? Does it depend on the actual population of the house? Trying to find that out. And also I'm looking for the focus on OUD population. I'm not sure I still see that. I don't know, Kevin, where you were looking. So anyway, my question is it one-on-one or group or?
It's a combination of both. So he starts working with the entire group of residents in the house, but then he provides ongoing one-on-one support. So even after he finished his program, he's still working with those residents that still want to connect with him.
Keep them on track.
Okay, is Mr. Hancher certified or is he just a good guy? Don't mean to trivialize that, but is he a counselor?
So this is his background in leadership and training, working with individuals to provide pathways to success.
Yeah, I've seen the paragraph on his background. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Could I ask a question as to how, because of the way this all arose, I look at page 16 of 148, which is part of the response to the request for proposal that you all put out. And I really don't see any, when you're talking about expected outcomes or anything, there's really no mention made of opioids. This was all the response to a request for proposal. How did you, Washington County, make the decision based upon the request for proposal that this was opioid related and that was all he was doing? Because his entire proposal that he is setting forth deals with just motivational type of things and is not directed solely at opioids at all.
So to answer that question, we met with Mr. Hancher, and he spelled out his initiative to work with his population and to work directly in the recovery housing communities. So that
I helped set him up with the recovery houses.
Mhm.
So we worked hand in hand to get him established and work in the recovery
in those
houses.
targeted, again, populations. And with leadership of these recovery housing facilities, directing and pointing him to the appropriate individuals.
And this was
So you
before
do.
you requested the $45,000.
Correct.
Other questions?
So it is really per individual. It's not necessarily just 3 more houses, is it? I mean, if he could take the 45,000 and go to 4 houses or 5 houses. It depends on the population of the house, or is he directed to a specific house?
So the initial proposal and when we had these discussions was to work in 3 houses. So we thought that was reasonable for a year, given the number of people in each one of the houses, so he could provide quality services. Now, if there's a house that only has 2 residents, then of course, yeah, I'm sure he would add that house on. So we would have to look at that and the numbers if he's looking to continue, if this is approved, and go from there. Resurrection Power's houses are pretty stable houses within our county. So we knew that was a very good starting place. They're usually generally full and they have a stable population. So that's how it kind of started.
And we make
there.
sure, his works along with others aren't done in a silo. So to Tiffany's point, aligning Jeff, for example, with valued, respected partners such as Resurrection Power.
Okay, thanks. That's the answer.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Hearing none, let's move on to program number 41, which is the Loyal After School Programming.
Tiffany will present this.
Okay, thank you. So number 41, Loyal Incorporated After School Programming. This program meets Exhibit E, Section G, Prevent Misuse of Opioids, number 9. The rationale behind this is the Loyal After School Programming aligns with Exhibit E, Section G, number 9, which authorizes school-based or youth-focused strategies that demonstrate effectiveness in preventing drug misuse and reducing opioid uptake. Loyal delivers structured substance use prevention education through a daily youth podcast addressing vaping and nicotine addiction, underage alcohol use, illicit drugs, including fentanyl, peer pressure, healthy decision-making, coping strategies, and stories of resilience and recovery, thereby incorporating clear educational components focused on prevention. Participant eligibility is determined through risk-based referrals from Washington County school districts, identifying at-risk and underprivileged youth who would benefit from targeted prevention support. The program further reflects an evidence-informed framework grounded in the health belief model, promoting protective factors such as perceived risk awareness, self-efficacy, and behavioral change through academic support and structured physical fitness activities. Research supports physical activity and mentorship as protective factors that enhance resilience, provide positive role models, foster belonging, and reduce the likelihood of substance misuse, demonstrating that Loyal meets Exhibit E criteria as a youth-focused, prevention-oriented initiative.
Okay.
Quick question, just looking at the original application or the original reporting, I should say, it did not have, that I can see anyway, Exhibit E, Section G, number 2 was chosen, not number 9. Is that a change or did I miss something in the report?
We have identified number 9, school-based or youth-focused programs or strategies that have demonstrated effectiveness in preventing drug misuse and seem likely to be effective in preventing uptake of use of opioids. So that is what we have identified and should have identified.
So that was my only question. It was a change. It's not from the original. It was a change from 2 to 9. I want to make sure that I'm reading the right piece.
Yeah, number 9 is what we are identifying.
Okay.
Other questions?
Here, Tom. So the education that they're using, is that an evidence-based program or what does that look like?
Yeah, evidence-based based on the health belief model, which I just outlined, which highlights the protective factors.
I'm going to continue to read that.
If you want me to read that one again, I can kind of go over
that has like, can't think of the word I want, but like specific podcasts or whatever on those topics, the vaping, the alcohol, illicit drugs, like different.
Yeah, correct. And it's a combination. So the whole program was designed around the health belief model. So one component is utilizing the podcasts and the educational videos on the harms of using illicit substances, which is vaping, alcohol, other illicit drugs, things like that. And then he added in the component of the belonging to organized physical activity, which promotes self-efficacy and fosters connection. So using a combination of physical activity, belonging, and the prevention education regarding substance use, that program is designed around that. It's an after-school program, so it gives the kiddos a safe space to go to after school where they usually wouldn't have a safe space to go to, and gets them involved in healthy activities.
Communal-based. And
So
again,
they're looking, they're doing the podcast and the videos and whatever, and then they're participating physically.
all hands on.
Yep. And I just found out about a week ago that actually one of the little teen boxers involved in the program won the Golden Gloves. So very, very, very exciting. And that would not have been possible before in Washington County. Just fantastic.
That's good.
Question about funding. It says that this costs about 150,000, but the overall cost is 190,000 for the entire program. 2 questions about that. What's the other 40,000 used for, and what's the funding stream?
So we'd have to go back in the notes as far as the breakdown of total cost, but our cost was for the equipment purposes to allow the center
and rent of the space.
And rent of the space.
Yeah, I see rent year 1, rent year 2, athletic equipment, podcast equipment, office equipment, staff part-time, and meals and transportation equals about 150,000. But on the original application, please provide the total project cost. It says 190,000. What's the amount being requested is 150,000. My question is, what's the 44 and what was it for? Who we paying? Or who are they paying and how are they paying it?
Again, I would have to go back in the notes and see where the additional 40,000 that they were using as I don't say a match fund, but supporting funding for that 150,000. I'd have to go back in the budgetary notes to confirm that. At this time, I can only speak on, as you identified, purposes that they utilized the opioid award funding for.
So I think you're stating the requested amount on the RFP. What was given to them was less.
Well,
Total amount was
they said the total amount's 190,000, and what is the request from the opioid use fund is 150,000. What was the other 40,000 used for? And my question is, and this is just financial. So of this equipment or the other purchases that we've made, are they using that with another program? That's my question. Of the 40,000, are they doing another program utilizing these, what we've already spent on, is my question.
It's a fair question. Yeah. So this program it's a one-track program. Everything we've defined is set up for purposes of working with the youth in these areas. So
That's the only thing they
there's
do
no other
at that
programs
gym.
going on.
There's nothing else that they do.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like a follow-up, even if whatever happens here, I would like to know that 40,000, please.
Yeah, it's a fair question.
Other questions?
The same question that I asked before with the, and this would be for Mr. Turner, I guess. His background, I don't think I saw any kind of background or resume or, who is he? I'm sure you vetted him.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Yes, so we met with Mr. Turner multiple times, and I will state that Mr. Turner very proudly works with some of the most at-risk youth in the Washington County communities, has done so for quite some time, and is very dedicated, passionate, and proud of his efforts. And as Tiffany mentioned, he called up and was glowing about the awards and the acclimates that have taken place and the outcomes of some of our most at-risk youth. So we feel very confident in not only his background, but the efforts that are taking part really on a daily basis.
And a lot of it is he's born and raised in Washington County and came from a disadvantaged family situation himself. And so he is more of a lived experience kind of person, like someone that has literally turned his life around.
Mm-hmm.
And so his ability to connect with these individuals, he can connect with people that you or I cannot connect with, which is fantastic. It makes him the perfect person to do that.
He's projecting, what is it, 150? Is it just him? Is there support staff with him?
He said he works 24 hours a day, and he is very proud to do that. He is very passionate about it. This is literally his life passion, it's fantastic to have someone here that's that passionate.
How are you going to sustain him doing 24 hours a day?
I'm sorry, Stuart. I missed the answer on, does he have support staff, or is it just a?
Yeah.
He has volunteers.
Okay.
Volunteers. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm in recovery and I get calls 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
People that they're ready to go at 2 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock.
He's one of those individuals.
Doesn't stop.
So I can understand when you say 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as noted, he's working with some of our most at-risk youth in Washington County, some of our most troubled, that unfortunately, dare I say, may be overlooked. He's that safe haven.
And I have a question similar to what I asked with Mr. Hancher. In the response that you gave us originally, which was attached to, I guess, your application in September 15th of 2025, in the response that you got asking for the money, and as a description of what Loyal is, it starts with saying it's more than just a gym. We're a community-driven organization dedicated to empowering the next generation through discipline, education, and unwavering support. Our after-school programs and fitness training serve as a safe haven. Through structured mentorship, education, and coaching, we aim to break the cycle of adversity We are not simply developing athletes. We are shaping leaders who will excel in every area of life, on and off the mat, in the classroom, and in the world around them. It goes on to say, when they're talking about the after-school programming, that our team has a goal to make the community better. We will be renting space in the Freedom Center on Chestnut Street. The sports offerings will include boxing, wrestling, and martial arts. We will offer music, art, and sports media, which includes broadcasting, writing, social media marketing, focusing on promoting and covering school sports. The program will offer homework sessions, financial literacy sections. My question: you received this response in response to your request for proposal. What led you to believe that that money was going to be going to treat people that were in any way afflicted with opioid or OUD affliction?
Great question. So again, similar to with Mr. Hansher, we had an opportunity to meet directly with Mr. Turner, had conversations, and he shared his understanding of, again, this very vulnerable population, and wanted to step up and address it specifically in an at-risk troubled youth prevention arm.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, why didn't you submit that to the trust to begin with?
So if this keeps coming up, I'll just give kind of a little blanket statement. So this is the
It's going to keep coming up.
Okay. This was the first time that John and I participated in part of the reporting, and the first time we kind of had some conversations and are getting some clarity on what is being expected. I'm really glad that we've been able to do that over the past few months, because up until then, I don't know that it was very clear. And maybe it's just because we came into the picture like partway through, if that makes sense. So this was definitely a learning experience for us. We, of course, would want to provide you with the information that you're looking for from the beginning. I just don't know that we knew exactly what that was. And our finance department did the reporting before we did it. We then realized that we should be doing it. That made more sense. Mm-hmm. Hence how we got kind of here.
And why obviously you're getting some additional information after the fact, because Tiffany and I weren't exactly
and we have the information.
Runners. Yeah. So again, we apologize for the confusion. We're working obviously to correct that. Bree has been very helpful in navigating processes in the future, and we're looking forward to work with that newly appointed state liaison so that our reporting will be more on point, more targeted, provide more clarity, and continue in our belief to align directly with Exhibit E to have those outcomes and impacts we desire for residents here in Washington County.
That would be very helpful, because your predecessors merely attached whatever the response was to a request for proposal. We would get 40 pages of, I think I can read by heart your Washington County's non-discrimination clause, et cetera. That
we changed it. Don't worry. For this, we just did this grant reporting cycle that's due Monday. It is completely different. So proud to say that. But again, it wasn't kind of clear, and we picked up partway through. So
our apologies.
We ask for your forgiveness
and grace on that process.
Okay. Any other questions for program number 41? Okay, program number 42, which is Leadership Development 911 Training.
So I will take that lead. That is, again, number 42, Leadership Development LLC 911 Training. It relates or aligns to Exhibit E, Section 1, First Responders. Number 2, again, this is under Schedule B. And the rationale behind this includes, and these are a multi-tier rationale, so bear with me.
The first one is the one that we submitted.
Okay.
Via the report.
Okay. Well, there are multiple ones. We'll start with the first one. I apologize. So page E, number 13, Section 1, or excuse me, Section I, number 2, First Responders Wellness Support. So the rationale, the 911 training directly fulfills this provision by delivering structured wellness education and practical support strategies for first responders who experience repeated exposure to opioid-related trauma. the incorporation of mental health resources, stress management techniques, professional referrals, peer and managerial support system, flexible scheduling for therapy, and wellness index self-assessment tools demonstrate proactive trauma mitigation. By normalizing help-seeking behavior and reinforcing that professional support is available, the program addresses secondary trauma, burnout, and cumulative stress, core elements of the wellness services authorized under this section. Should I continue? I can go on. There are actually several other sections, 3 other sections that it does meet. I'd be happy to provide an overview of those. That includes section C, number 9, section H, number 1, section H, number 3, and section H, number H. I'd be happy to provide rationale behind those as well.
Quick question, if I may, just
I'm
did
sorry?
you seek this program out or did it find you?
This program came through RFP, but there is and has been a need, as you could
We sought
imagine,
it out.
for our 911 center to get the appropriate supports. All of these areas listed, normalizing help-seeking behavior, professional reinforcement of professional supports. Those have all been challenges of our 911 center.
So I can say that they were, the individuals that work in the dispatch center, they were struggling for years and suffering from rates of high burnout, high staff turnover, short staffing. And so when the head of their department came to the county asking for help, like, I want to support my people, but I do not know how to support them. And then it was recognized that they needed this wellness support. That's really what they needed. And so we were able to kind of line this up for them. And we're seeing positive outcomes over there. And they're our first line. So we have to make sure those individuals are healthy and well so they can handle these calls.
Handle these calls at a high level, and well, as again, as you could imagine, keep the retention numbers up. Unfortunately, that is a challenge that I'm sure is seen across the Commonwealth, but retention is a key driver for our centers. And these issues do take place commonly. And again, these support systems and modalities certainly provide impact.
I guess I have a problem with this one because I'm struggling to make a direct connection. I know you could put X's in boxes and we could try to make the connection, but I'm still trying to make a connection with the OUD population. Yeah, leadership training is important in all of our departments. And perhaps the 911 get it first. Like, people call in crisis line and they need to defer or refer people to the right agencies and remedies. I'm struggling to make a connection here, guys. Let's be honest with you.
And I appreciate that. I think it would be beneficial if I continue to show where this program directly aligns with Exhibit E. So I will, with permission, continue to identify section H number 1 and section H number 3. And this is again from page E12, increased availability and distribution of naloxone. So the rationale behind this, the program increases awareness of naloxone access points, including pharmacies and Pennsylvania Department of Health distribution programs, thereby expanding knowledge of how and where life-saving medications can be obtained, encouraging first responders and community members to carry naloxone in vehicles and homes, promotes broader availability and preparedness. By reinforcing practical access, information, and distribution pathways, training supports expanded availability consistent with harm reduction objectives. Also want to speak again in reference to section H number 3. This is training and education regarding naloxone and overdose medications. The rationale behind this is that participants receive direct education on the use and purpose of naloxone and Vivitrol, including real-world discussions of overdose response and firsthand experiences. This instruction enhances competency, reinforces correct administration practices, and promotes continued community dialogue about overdose reversal.
Yeah, but I don't
Providing
get, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't get that at all from the attachments,
I'm sorry, you don't get that from what?
your attachments.
Okay.
I mean, I see, as everybody else could, I see a cost breakdown, I see leadership development.
Mhm.
Okay, I see a description of the program and the agreement, but I don't see,
Okay.
I don't see anything else.
We can send you the entire program. I thought the entire program was sent over. It was like a packet that was like that thick. I
Well, maybe
we
I
sent
didn't
that
get it.
over,
I
the
mean,
entire
mine is,
program, which included all of these.
Yeah, so this is like a summary
all-
of what was included in your packet. So what I'm reading to you is directly in the correspondence that was sent January of 2026 and that was our appeal. So these rationales are taken a summarization of
snippets.
what those statements were in the appeals submitted in January to the trust.
okay, I don't know if I just missed it. I don't know if
Okay.
anybody
No,
else.
understandable. Just to finish up on that point, providing education to first responders about these medications and which clearly satisfies the requirement for training and overdose response education under this section. So I hope that kind of details, and again, I apologize that if you weren't clearly able to see where that is identified in the appeal submission. Again, this is just a summarization of what, all of these are just a summarization of what has been submitted to the trust in January. But this begins to outline 3 of the 4 areas in which this training to the 911 centers, what took place and the outcomes and impacts.
If I may, I think I'm going to lean on Rob, his statement a little bit too, because I kind of agree with him. As commissioners, we have a 911 system under us, as yours does as well. So with that, we look at EMS and we provide services on overdose based on percentages and what have you. Actually, under our EMS programs, they have to be called for a possible overdose to be able to be eligible for that funding. When I look at the call volume of the 911, I can tell you that I've been on a critical incident stress management team for the police, fire, and EMS and 911 services. The number of calls that we get for an overdose related for a 911 are very de minimis. I don't want to minimize it, but it is de minimis. What they get are for suicides and a completed suicide on the phone or those types of calls. And I don't know what your call volume is, and I'm not trying to disparage any type of 911. It's a tough job. There's no question about it. But when we're talking about opioid funds, we got to relate it to the opioid population. And in this 911 call center, you get thousands of calls, and 1 out of 1,000 may be an overdose. I don't know I'm just throwing numbers, right? But that's how I would relate this funding as a portion of funding. This is a 911, and all employees of my county, your county, are important. And I think that providing services, EAP programs, all of those things are equally important. But how does it relate to the OUD crisis that has brought this mental health strain on the 911 call takers? So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm struggling with this is, yes, it's a very stressful job, but stressful for a million reasons. This is a portion of it, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I think it's, when we look at the Exhibit E, and it's kind of a vague, I guess, and it says just provision of wellness and support services for first responders and others who experience secondary trauma related to an opioid-related event. And we do believe that this kind of training and wellness program does fit into that when we read that specifically. But I do understand you're looking at, percentages and numbers and things, but then that makes me question, like, if we wanted to do a wellness program with like the EMS, then we could only do it with like 2 EMS members. Do you know what I mean?
And
So
Commissioner Boozle, I'll interject to that front again, make a very valid statement, but this program While not every single 911 call necessarily may come in for opioid purposes, this program was specifically set up to educate in those realms, as mentioned, addressing increased availability and distribution to naloxone, training and education regarding naloxone and overdose medications. So these were targeted training specifically to deal with some of the most challenging aspects that do occur, throughout the opioid epidemic. So I think we could probably expand into thousands of different realms of what the 911
What they
dispatchers and
need.
leadership face that would well exceed the grant dollar amount that was provided through and to this training. Thus, this was a piece of the pie, I'll say. And that is how they have presented it as such.
Bree, is there additional information?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Is there
No,
additional
go ahead.
information we didn't receive? I'm sorry. I just want to make sure because
No,
I'm
you
looking
did.
at I'm looking at what they sent or what I have here, and I don't have. I'm like with Rob. I see a leadership program. That's
Yes.
why.
So I did go back and pull the original submission just to make sure that it matched what was in the record, and it does. So for the report that was originally submitted, there was an attachment that was 4 pages, the first being the cover page of the leadership training proposal for Washington County 911. And then there's 3 pages of what appears to be content. And I see what you see the cost breakdown being a total budget of $35,000, including staff interviews, manager training programs that doesn't provide any description of the management training program, group leadership training for entire staff with no description, and then the mental health event for $2,000.
Thank you.
So
That's
that
what
is
I
the
had.
extent.
The curriculum, if you did not receive it, we can send you that packet. I thought it was sent over, but we have their entire curriculum that they ran, which includes all of the things in Exhibit E.
You also were provided a copy
curriculum.
of Washington County's record in advance of the meeting.
Well, again, the curriculum, and the way I'm thinking about the curriculum still, though, has to be beyond leadership training. I see 8 sessions. I mean, it's pretty a global type of training. I think what I need is to have something more focused on how you're going to address the problem of it that you have in Washington County, not necessarily just trying to, not that I diminish it, but we all need leadership training. I can't see the connection, but send over what you got.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be happy to send over again what we have. Again, and pointing it to Exhibit E. And there are 4 areas that they do connect in Exhibit E. The 2 that just mentioned, availability and distribution of naloxone, training and education regarding naloxone and overdose medication. So they do hit the mark not once, but 4 times from our review.
And just because I do comparison, and Shay, I'm sorry, I kind of cut you off.
Okay.
I'm sorry. One of the things that I could tell you is that OUD, as far as preparation of where it is, we train every single employee of the county. It's a very simple video training of what you just described: availability, where it is, how to use, how to identify, how to alert, and I just can't see $35,000 going to that. If that's now, it sounds like there's a leadership component to this, and again, we're not looking at the full piece of that, and I understand that. But yeah, that's not even those 4 pieces that you identified, sir. I'm struggling with putting $35,000 price tag on that.
Understandable. I guess where I would challenge back is the instruction that we receive as a county are in alignment to Exhibit E. There is no specific thresholds or dollar figures that are assigned. Well, Exhibit E, first responder wellness support, can meet this dollar amount. So I would challenge back and state that we are going off of then what would be an incomplete document, because we need those parameters, that framework, those guardrails, albeit, and that's where we're very optimistic and looking forward to work with the newly appointed liaison, continuing our discussions with Bree. We would love nothing more than to say, hey, here's a batch of awards that we would like to, or proposals that we would like to award.
Mhm.
These are the dollar figures. If this doesn't make sense, we're all ears. But again, we can only go off of the framework that was set by the trust and Exhibit E. That's what
And to this point, to your point, this is the framework. Like this is why we got here, because this is how we balanced it. So and no due undue respect, I just really think that I understand the argument. And obviously you got to put a price tag to the OUD. Remember, and I say this with all due respect, people that have died because of the prescription pills being pushed and all the things that happen, you have to relay that back. And yes, your 911 are there, but this is not going to directly affect, from my understanding, $35,000 of that program. What I understand is identification and so on. That would be a general conversation at best. So that's the guardrail, and I appreciate your thoughts and thank you for presenting this. It helped me think. Thank you.
Thank you.
And John, I'm sure you're aware, but there is a technical advisory group. Speaking of going forward, you two going forward in the future, that if you get a proposal, if you want to know whether or not we think it's going to pass muster, you can submit it to the technical advisory group.
Yeah, we're
and
excited.
get that.
Yep.
Get
that was music to our
predetermined.
ears, because we feel like, we're doing our best on these fronts. So to have that liaison, that technical advisor, I think makes life so much easier for all of us moving forward, because we want to certainly stay in bounds. We want to make sure that all these dollars and cents spent make the highest level of impact, and again, are in alignment with the vision set forward by the trust. So we're looking forward to that for sure.
Good. Well, we've had the technical advisory group in place for about 2 years now. So it's been in place. It is a group of people who advise it, give at least a preliminary conclusion, or whether or not they think modifications ought to be made. And it's not totally binding on the trust, but it comes pretty close. Okay.
Good. That's good information. Thank you.
And the liaison, will be able to help with some of this, but you really should use the technical assistance group. Several of us are on it. We meet every 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's a pretty quick turnaround. If
Okay.
you give us the information we need, we can really avoid a lot of stuff. So we don't need to
That
beat
would be
the horse
helpful.
any further.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay. Other questions on program number 42? Okay, let's move on to program number 49, the Regola Consulting Grant Management Group.
Okay, program number 49, Regola Consulting Grant Management. This program meets Exhibit E, Section J, Leadership, Planning, and Coordination, number 3. The rationale behind this is Regola Consulting's activities directly align with the planning, coordination, and infrastructure support activities identified in Exhibit E by strengthening Washington County's cross-system capacity to prevent and address opioid misuse and overdose. Through strategic planning, grant development, and interagency coordination, Regola Consulting has supported the Washington County Department of Human Services in securing and leveraging opioid abatement funding streams that expand substance use disorder treatment and recovery supports. This includes development of competitive funding applications, such as the PCCD grant submission on behalf of the county's Criminal Justice Advisory Board, preparation of a letter of intent and proposal to DDAP, and strategic planning to support the county's reacquisition of the single county authority designation. These efforts enhance the county's infrastructure for coordinated service delivery and directly strengthen partnerships across justice, behavioral health, and community systems, and directly support implementation of programs designed to prevent overprescribing, reduce opioid misuse and overdose, and improve access to treatment and recovery services for individuals with opioid use disorder and any co-occurring substance use disorder and mental health conditions.
Questions?
So this is for Regola. Let me start again. Regola is your consultants to find you money related to opioid. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm watching this carefully as a county commissioner.
Okay, questions? Other questions?
I actually have a problem with this one.
Okay.
You're basically hiring a grant writer to get you more grants. And I don't think that it fits into Exhibit A myself.
Well, I agree with the senator, and that's why, as a county commissioner, I'm wondering how this outcome is going to be, because I could tell you that a lot of counties, shouldn't say that, I'm not speaking for any other county, but many of us have grant writers and independent consultants to go find this money. I understand that this is related to PCCD and other funds that would be directed to opioid disorders. But again, as I was talking about the leadership when I struggled to make the direct connection. That's just me.
Yeah, man.
Okay, other questions? Okay, let's move on to program number 53, the Youth Ranch of Mon Valley.
I'll just interject, and I certainly appreciate the insight. Again, Regola Consulting does provide that leadership, planning, coordination, ultimately quarterbacking these efforts that Tiffany just identified. So to say that this gentleman and this team are grant writing, I believe is an inaccurate statement. It is planning, coordinating, aligning internal, external partnerships, strategy, both at a strategic, tactical level. So it's kind of all of the strategy and the policy and procedural aspects that are going to go into our efforts as a county, including, and as noted, our current efforts for the county hosting the SCA. So just want to make it clear that this consulting arm is not writing grants at an office desk. So just want to make it clear they're on a task force,
Transition
task force,
Mhm.
leading, quarterbacking those efforts. So again, leadership,
In our
planning,
community wellness centers.
and our community wellness centers that are hosted currently in Avella and soon to be in the Mon Valley, that will directly target and specialize treatment for the OUD population. So again, all part of that leadership, all part of that planning, and all part of that coordination effort. And again, I'll just reiterate just briefly, albeit the partnership alignment. And I know you all know how critical that is to have the partnerships in place. And that's where we found value.
I just one quick statement to that. I don't know if, because I do see this more of an administrator role, I'll be honest, but I understand what you're doing and how you're aligning it strategically, and I can appreciate that. I guess the side for me is if the funds that come back are not directly related to, it can't be a general county fund, right? I can't go in and provide services to a probation or what have you. PCCD does allow, like, I know they did a grant for MAP programming in the jail.
Just got that.
Yeah. So, and as did Butler a while
Which
ago.
he was a part of.
I guess that's one of the things that I could see. But as far as there's a lot of work that could be done, and I guess who's going to moderate this is the real question. How do you know this person's not only working on a grant that's specifically for this group, right? So that's one of my concerns, and I think that would be a shared concern.
We direct that.
But I do agree that you do have another lever to pull, and I want to make sure you're aware of it, that the interest earned on the dollars of the opioid funds could certainly be used at discretion. And there are funds that are eligible to be used for such a thing, such as training for staff for going to the trust trainings that we provide. That's an administrative piece, and so you may be able to leverage those dollars, interest dollars, for this is what my point. Not saying that 100% can't be used for that, but maybe you want to look at that. That's my only advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on program 49? Okay, number 53, the youth ranch of
Yes.
Mon Valley.
So Shekinah Youth Ranch of the Mon Valley, number 53, Youth Prevention Program, falls under and aligns with Exhibit E, Section G, Prevent Misuse Opioids, number 9. The program delivers a structured youth prevention initiative grounded in the social cognitive theory, utilizing mentoring relationship, positive role modeling, leadership development, and faith-based programming to strengthen protective factors associated with reduced substance misuse risk. Through the Trail of Grace Scholarship, the program prioritizes underserved and at-risk youth in Washington County, PA, including those experiencing economic hardship, family instability, trauma-exposed, foster or kinship care placement, or limited access to structured development opportunities. Within the camp environment, youth participants in activities designed to build self-efficacy, emotional resilience, decision-making skills, and positive peer relationships. Protective factors widely recognized in prevention research as reducing vulnerability to substance misuse. By providing early intervention through mentorship, structured programming, and community belonging during critical development stages, the program aligns with evidence-based prevention frameworks referenced by the CDC, the NIH, and SAMHSA, and directly supports upstream strategies aimed at preventing the initiation of drug misuse, including opioid misuse, among our youth population. Shekinah Ranch camps in the Mon Valley identified eligible youth through a risk and need-based process prioritizing underserved and at-risk children. Eligibility initially focused on household income and later expanded to include risk factors such as family instability, foster care placement, trauma exposure, limited access to positive adult role models, and lack of structured summer programming. Local schools, churches, and community leaders referred youth, and scholarship decisions were made through individualized review to ensure those most in need could participate. This approach provided early intervention and access to mentoring, skill building, supportive environments, strengthening protective factors, and reducing susceptibility to opioid and other substance misuse.
Is the request 150,000
25.
or is it 25 or 150? I'm looking at the page that says, what's the amount you are requesting? 150,000.
Yeah, I'm also a little confused about that. What's the total amount that was committed?
And let me have to follow up then. Then up on that page, projected number of individuals served 20 to 45. That kind of stands out to me. Seems like you're really talking about more. But again, I got 20 to 45 youth. And if Washington County wants to spend their money, 150,000, I'd question.
That
wasn't the number.
It was 25. So they asked for a 2-tier option, I think option 1, option 2. This is like what they could do with their program depending on the funding award.
And how much was awarded?
I believe it was the 25.
25,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was identified as spent.
Yeah, that's what they were given. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They requested
So
150,000.
it might have been they may have asked for a different number, right? So
I
they asked for 150. We only gave them 25 because we believe that's what they needed to run their program.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And was your intention for them to use the $25,000 for the program specifically geared towards the evidence-based practices that you mentioned from SAMHSA and other things that were targeting substance use prevention?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Relating back to the request or the actual report, it said $25,000 was already expended. That was what was given to them. And how much is committed is 0. Are you not continuing this program? Is it not what happened there? It says 0.
So we're not going to commit to a program until it's approved. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're kind of in a spot right now to determine where we're at.
So let me ask you flat out, are you anticipating and continuing it if it's an approved?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what type of educational, what kind of education is provided in conjunction with giving these high-risk kids something to do after school? But what kind of education is provided while they're involved in those activities in order to hopefully stem the use of opioids?
Yeah, and this was an entire summer camp. So this was while they're not in school. They have somewhere healthy to go to, and they stay there for the majority of the summer and participate in these activities.
And life skills were, predominantly what took place on the ranch. So literally learning by, rolling up their sleeves, hands-on.
And they had, there were individuals, I don't know if you wrote down the numbers, that had the full scholarship, like 20 individuals or something that would never have, their parents couldn't afford to pay for them to go there. And they were able to go there. And then we had maybe like 10 students that had partial scholarships. So they were able to attend, and before they wouldn't have been able to.
Prior to the opioid funding being available, did the county engage this group prior and with any other programs?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anything else on program 53? Okay, program 55, the Hill Group.
Program
Washington
55.
County OUD Services Assessment.
Okay, number 55, the Hill Group. This program meets Exhibit E, Section J, Leadership, Planning, and Coordination. It meets numbers 1, 3, and 4, and it also meets Section L, number 1. The rationale, the system level assessment evaluated how the county's drug and alcohol services operate, identifying coordination gaps, access barriers, re-entry challenges, and populations most affected by opioid use disorder through structured engagement with providers, partners, and stakeholders across prevention, treatment, recovery, healthcare, courts, law enforcement. The project highlighted key trends and compared local practices to state and national best practices. The findings provide a strategic foundation for data-driven decision-making, ensuring opioid settlement funds are used effectively to address system gaps, strengthen coordination, and reduce opioid-related harm across Washington County. I don't know if you need me to read the other 3. I'm willing to do that if you would like.
Some of the questions.
That was.
I think continue.
Are there any questions, or do you want additional information?
Did you already do this study? I'm sorry.
Completed.
Yes.
Did we get a copy of that?
May or may not have. We can
I
send you
didn't-
the
I
entire
didn't see
study.
it.
I believe we did.
Did we?
I
I
thought we
can't
had
find
one.
it. But
We
that
got
doesn't mean anything.
we got an outline of the plan.
Yeah,
Sorry, the
I
proposal.
found that, but
Yeah.
I didn't see the results.
We have it completed. If you would like us to send it to you, we would be happy to share that.
I would.
Yeah, and like I just stated in the my little brief narrative, it helped us to identify in the past year gaps in services. And then when we recognize those gaps, for example, the lack of licensed recovery beds, then we focus on initiatives the next year when we're looking at opioid settlement proposals that address those gaps. So for example, one big one that was brought up by the study is our issues in reentry. So our focus, hopefully for 26, is going to be to address reentry. So it's very, very helpful to have that kind of system level analysis so we know our efforts and our funds are working to address those things.
Was this a one-time commitment?
Yes.
And was the $58,000 the total cost of the project?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So the goal seems, at least in part, was to facilitate bringing the SCA into the Department of Human Services in a way that you feel is more effective.
Well, that was an outcome. of the study. So the
An
goal
outcome
was
of
to
study.
understand the landscapes that are
It was
present in
the
drug and alcohol.
recommendation.
And the recommendation or the outcome was led us to the SCA submission.
And that's in process now.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, no, it'd be great to see the outcomes from it. It'd be helpful.
Absolutely.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. Move on to program number 58, STEMworks.
I believe this is the last one, Washington Steamworks, number 58. The lines to Section G, prevent and misuse opioids. Number 9, school-based or youth-focused programs or strategies that have demonstrated effectiveness in preventing drug misuse. The rationale is that Washington Steamworks supports school-based and youth-focused programs that have demonstrated effectiveness in preventing drug misuse and reducing opioid initiation. These initiative uses evidence-based social problem solving, SPS theory, to structure STEM programming for students in grades pre-K through 8 with planned expansion to adult learners, fostering cognitive, problem solving, and pro-social skills that reduce high-risk behaviors, including substance use. By providing hands-on, student-driven learning experience in a supportive, low-stakes environment, the program strengthens resilience, emotional regulation, and decision-making while building both technical and soft skills aligned with long-term academic and personal success. The risk-based evidence process for Washington Steamworks ensured that program resources were targeted to youth most vulnerable to substance misuse, including students in pre-K through 8 from underserved or higher risk communities in Washington County. The program used demographic, socioeconomic, and school data to identify populations facing individual and environmental risk factors, such as limited problem-solving skills, low engagement in structured activities, social or academic challenges, and exposure to high-risk peer or home environments. The NIH March 15, 2016 publication research indicates that participation in structured STEM and extracurricular activities can lower the likelihood of opioid use and other risky behaviors. And Washington Steamworks sustained engagement, mentorship, and skill-building activities cultivate proactive factors that guide youth toward positive life outcomes. Equipment and programming investments directly support these outcomes, ensuring that underserved and at-risk students in Washington County have access to effective preventative educational opportunities.
All right, it's silent, so I'm going to ask a question.
Sure, go
ahead. Couple of things. Has this program been in effect, and have you used it in the past?
So yes, has been in effect with success, and that's why we tapped into it, and it has a track record.
Okay. And of the cost that the county has paid, what percentage is the 45,000? Is it the full amount of the program, and who funded it prior?
So the 45,000 was funded by the county for the entire program. Funding that they received prior, they just received a substantial grant fund. Put me on the spot. Do you remember the name of that?
And this is at an after school program. It's at one of our local, the Lemoyne Community Center. It's for the programming that Steamworks offers at their program, which supports 4 of our local schools. If that makes sense. And so it's $45,000 for it to be, that program to be done at the after school program supporting 4 schools.
It's for,
I'd have to look at the funding grant that they received prior.
Before us.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you've said it, and I apologize. I was looking at something else. I see only one place where you really, as part of the sentence, says positive and meaningful learning experiences are vital for all students, but especially those who are considered at risk. How are the students chosen?
Yeah.
Is it anybody that's interested? Are they referred? Again, I'm trying to make the connection to at-risk population and not the general population.
Right. Yeah, it was a great question. As identified, the program utilized demographic, socioeconomic, and school data that they received to identify populations facing these individual and environmental risk factors. So that was, the makeup for the composition of the student body.
I would just add, when you're working with a young population like this, a lot of what you're doing is prevention, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's from it mainly serves, it's right in the city proper. And so it mainly serves Washington City proper schools, which is the disadvantaged area.
Sure. You're targeting a population that's known to be at risk for opioid use disorder as well as other substance use disorders. Okay. The only thing I would say, I think the follow-up here was really good, would have been helpful. I thought in the initial, and this is just speaking to the giving us information about the evidence base when you want to give it to us. The first citation, the initial citation in the proposal that was sent to you was of a study that was done of African American students in inner city in 1966. It was up in your initial thing. So I looked it up because I do look this stuff up. And basically the conclusion was, and I quote, "No significant relationship between drug use disorders and readiness to learn in first grade reading, and math scores and mother's education expectations." So they found there was no evidence to support what they were claiming. It was not the best study for them to give me to read. So I think it's just a question of making sure that when there's an evidence base that you want to demonstrate, and I don't think we need to get into like reading a whole bunch of studies. I think we just need to be able to have some solid evidence that there's an evidence base or that it's evidence aligned.
Okay.
So just be a little bit more careful about that, because
I appreciate that.
Understandable. And this was also kind of a hands-on STEAM initiative. So this kind of took things from another level that happened decades prior, where I think we're all aware STEAM has really evolved, especially over the past decade plus, to a more hands-on environment. And that's what this group has really engaged students on, getting them kind of out of that rote mindset of learning into a real hands-on direct experience, which I think, again, without getting into a plethora of studies, have demonstrated that, especially at-risk students, this tends to serve them some.
Yeah, the studies are helpful for us to understand, because we're
I
not all
appreciate
coming
that.
from a
Yeah, I
background.
appreciate that.
Yeah, and so pick one or two that really give us a clear evidence base, or say you think this is evidence aligned based on whatever.
Okay.
That
That's
again.
helpful to know. I appreciate that.
I'd also make the recommendation you provide the link and not the actual document, because that gets voluminous.
Wait, can you say that again?
I recommend that you send us a link to the studies as opposed to the studies, because that gets very voluminous and then they start sending us boxes.
Okay.
And I'd rather not
Okay,
have
good to know.
boxes.
Yeah.
I don't want to send you boxes.
There's links. There's links are good.
To
I
that point, I apologize for a statement that I made earlier. I had a problem, and Bree knows this, in getting information for this meeting, and my IT people had to break up the attachments, and I do have other supplementary attachments that I was saying I didn't have. Particularly, I don't know if that went to number 42 or 49. So I have all the information. If you were going to send anything else, you don't need to.
Okay. Yeah, we thought
Problems
most
on
of that
my
was
end.
sent over because this was, again, just a real direct summary from the reports. But again, we'd be happy. We know sometimes technologies, there can be
No,
glitches. So
it was on my end, and
All
it's
right.
So you have the 911 curriculum,
yes, I do.
but you don't have the Hill Group study.
Yeah, do you have the Hill Group study?
Don't
So we can get you the Hill Group study. I think that's the other thing that you
You
requested.
guys asked for.
Tiffany,
Yeah.
to be clear, the original attachment that Washington County provided for the 911 leadership training, what were only those 4 pages that I had referenced. So they did not receive whatever you are referencing as the full packet. I think what's in partnership with that is in your appeal
You're right.
materials. where you provide the narrative breakdown of
Okay.
what is otherwise referred to just as a leadership training. That's 8 sessions. So in partnership, I think the information is together. It just wasn't included in the original
Okay, that makes
report
sense.
submission. But I
Okay.
do believe that the trustees had requested the results of the Hill Group assessment because what is included in the original report is just the proposal.
Okay, perfect.
Understandable.
We can get that to you. Thank you, Bree.
Yeah, just as an example, we got 148 pages
We've heard.
for these 7 programs that we're asking clarification for that we have to review. And we do try to do it. A lot of us are pretty busy. We do try to do a really good job of it. But when a simple application becomes
It'll
40
be better,
pages
I
of
promise.
debate.
Yeah,
No, I think it will. And I
promise
just,
it'll be
I
better.
appreciate you indulging us
Mhm,
in this. So, okay.
Okay, other questions? Any questions, Nick, looking back? I would intend to have an executive session. We do have 7 different programs to vote on, and I do want to see just how the committee would like to proceed with the voting on all 7, whether individually or all at one time. So we will have an executive session until let's say 10 minutes of 3. So if we could reconvene on this link at 10 of 3, we'll be ready to proceed. John and Tiffany, good to see you again.
Yes.
Yep. One question that I have following our little break was on all of these programs, which ones have money been spent on and which ones are you holding off? Were you holding off on waiting a decision?
All spent.
All spent.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any questions before we get into voting on these programs? Okay, hearing none, we will take them one by one. First motion in that case will be resolved that the Dispute Resolution Committee of the Trust hereby affirms the decision of the Board of Trustees that Washington County Program Number 40 is not compliant with Exhibit E. A yes vote would maintain the current denial by the trust, whereas a no vote would reverse the decision by the trust that the program is not compliant. Could I have a motion to that effect, please? Thank you, Kevin. Second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, please say, all those in favor of reversing the decision of the trust, please say yes.
Wait, can you repeat that again? Because I think you flipped it on me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Would anybody that, I'm sorry, would everybody that is in favor of affirming the decision of the trust, please vote yes. Does that clarify, Kevin?
Yes. Yes, it does.
And those that are, and those that would vote no to reverse the decision.
No.
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 Okay, that one is denied. Or continues to be denied.
Say that again.
Next.
No.
Wait. Whoa. Backwards. Right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, the no vote prevailed, correct?
Correct.
And that
Correct.
reversed the decision of the trust, right?
Yeah, it is.
Good. I'll try to get the rest of them straight, guys. Sorry. Program number 41, the Well Handle After School Programming. The resolution I would ask for is resolved that the dispute resolution of the trust, is Dispute Resolution Committee of the Trust hereby affirms the decision of the board that Washington County Program number 41 is not compliant with Exhibit E. A yes vote would maintain the current denial, whereas a no vote would reverse the decision by the trust. Could I have a motion to that effect, please?
Moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay. All of those voting yes to maintain the current denial, please say yes.
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 Those people desiring to vote no?
No.
No.
Okay, so I hear a positive yes by a 4-2 vote, or a positive no by a 4-2 vote. I don't know what I mean. We are maintaining the current denial by the trust by a 4-2 vote, okay? Keep me honest here, Bray, please.
You're doing great.
Program number 42, the Leadership Development 911 training. Resolved that the Dispute Resolution Committee of the Trust hereby affirms the decision of the Board of Trustees that Washington County Program number 42 is not compliant with Exhibit E. A yes vote would maintain the current denial, whereas a no vote would reverse the decision by the trust. Could I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Okay, any discussion? All those voting yes, which would maintain the current denial, please vote yes.
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 Voting no. Okay, that one is, we have continued, we maintain the current denial of the trust. Okay, program number 49. Regola Consulting. Resolved that the Dispute Resolution Committee of the Trust hereby affirms the decision of the Board of Trustees that Washington County Program number 49 is not compliant with Exhibit E. A yes vote would maintain the current denial by the trust. A no vote reverses the decision of the trust. Okay, so could I have a motion to that effect first?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, everybody who wants to vote yes, which maintains the current denial, please say yes now.
Yes.
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 Are there any no's? Okay, that one continues to be denied. Program number 53, which is the Youth Ranch of Mon Valley. Motion will be resolved that the Dispute Resolution Committee of the Trust hereby affirms the decision of the Board of Trustees that Washington County Program number 53 is not compliant with Exhibit E. A yes vote maintains the current denial, whereas a no vote would reverse the decision. Have a motion to that effect, please.
I'll do the motion. Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those voting yes, which would maintain the current denial, please say yes.
Yes.
Everybody that wants to vote no.
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 Include me in a yes, Mr. Chair. My apologies.
Okay, thank you. And Marie, am I correct that that gives us 2 yeses and 4 nos?
That's what I have.
Okay. Anybody dispute that? Okay. That program is we are overturning the decision of the trust, of the full trust board, excuse me. Program number 55, the Hill Group. It will be resolved, the Dispute Resolution Committee of the Trust hereby affirms the decision of the Board of Trustees that Washington County Program number 55 is not compliant with Exhibit E. A yes vote would maintain the current denial, whereas a no vote would reverse the decision by the trust. Have a motion to that effect, please.
So move.
Second.
Okay. All those voting yes, which would maintain the current non-compliance, please say yes.
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 I'm struggling. Yes.
Okay. That one is the original decision of the trust is affirmed.
Mr. Chairman, I voted no for that.
Okay. So we ended up with a 5-1 vote. 5-1 yes vote. Is that correct, Bree?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, finally, program number 58. Resolved that the Dispute Resolution Committee of the Trust hereby affirms the decision of the Board of Trustees that Washington County Program number 58 is not compliant with Exhibit E. A yes vote would maintain the current denial by the trust, whereas a no vote would reverse the decision by the trust that the program is not compliant. All those, could I have a motion to that effect?
Second.
Okay. All those voting yes to maintain the current denial, please say yes now.
Yes.
Any others? Okay, those voting no?
No.
No.
Okay, so number 58 is we are reversing the decision by the trust and deeming the program to be compliant. Is there anything else that come before? Oh, Washington County, are you still on?
We're still here.
Okay, so you heard the results of the voting and which ones we've affirmed and which ones have been overturned. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and we'll send you a notice to that effect also.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you
Okay,
for your time.
and in the future, really, it just really helps if the kind of presentation you made at this meeting, if you could make it originally to us when you're originally submitting the program to Penn State and allowing the full working group to discuss it, go to the entire trust. The kind of information you presented in this meeting is extremely helpful to us. So that's
Thank
just
you.
for future reference.
I have one question.
Yes.
So the programs from the last kind of review that we had to submit more information for, that
Yes.
were under review, where are we at with those? What is the process?
We are going to be considering those. Has the information been submitted yet, Bree?
Yeah.
Yep, so those will be on the agenda at the March 27th public meeting of the Board of Trustees.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And it won't be necessary for you at that time to make a presentation. Okay, we'll just be basing it on what you already submitted.
Okay,
Okay.
All right, thank you.
perfect.
Okay. Anything else to come before the meeting? Okay. In that case, the meeting is adjourned. I thank everybody for their time and effort that went into this. I know it was a long period of time, but I, as always, appreciate the diligence of the Dispute Resolution Committee as well as all the work you do as trustees. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.